Hello, my name is Sara Kimura and I'm a high school student currently studying in Paris, and welcome to this episode of Reset.revolution. Today I have invited Weronika Perner to this platform to discuss about abortion rights in Poland. Hi Weronika.
Hi.
Weronika, could you start off by maybe introducing yourself?
Yes, sure. I'm Weronika Perner. I'm Polish. I spent in Poland my whole life, and recently I moved to Paris. I'm still quite new here, and I go to an international school, but still I have my roots back in Poland, my friends, my family. So I think I have some information that would be really useful for everyone.
Perfect. So, firstly, can you give us some background information about Poland in terms of its abortion rights?
Yes, sure. So recently in 2020, in October, there was a change. And before this change, there was a abortion compromise. And basically, the law said that in case of any life-threatening situations, in case of rape, in cases that are really serious, abortion was legal and women could decide about their pregnancy. However, recently, exactly on 22nd October 2020, there was a change because there is a ban on almost every abortion. Before, in case of rape, in case of different situations, women are not allowed to make a choice about their pregnancy. And yeah, this resulted in many strikes. Yeah, I'll talk about that later on.
In terms of like the country itself, or like the government itself, would you say that it's rather conservative then?
Yes, I would say it's quite conservative since not only women are fighting for their right to choose, it's also minorities, it's also the LGBTQ community. Everyone is trying to fight for their freedom, for their right to choose, and for the right to be in a relationship and not be discriminated, basically. So basic human rights at this point. So I would say it's quite conservative.
How long have Polish women been fighting for abortion rights?
From October 22nd to this day, because at the beginning, on the day of the abortion ban, it went viral and people went on the streets. There were strikes. People blocked the streets. It was pretty intense. And at the beginning, it was only published and only viral between like Polish people in the country. But with time, many international news stations, magazines started talking about this issue. However, with time, because there was no response from the government, the whole issue died down in the press, and only strikes are still continuing. It just less, everyone is less vocal about it. And I feel like we still have to talk about this issue because it's still really important.
Hmm. Hmm. Who are the ones, would you say, like specifically stopping Polish women to access abortion rights? What are their excuses? Who are they?
So the whole abortion ban itself, it was brought up in the Senate by the ruling party, and the ruling party is called PIS, and basically it was widely supported amongst the members of the party. However, there was some voice of disagreement from the opposition, from the other side, but they weren't powerful enough. They didn't have the advantage, and they couldn't win over this ban. So I would say the ones responsible are the people who rule the party, and we have the president of Poland, who is um, who's on the right side in the government, and his name is Andrew, and also the um, people in this party mainly. Um, so I would say it was their proposition, it was their offer. So I would say it's on this side of the law in this case.
I see. So you were saying before this interview, when we were talking together, you were saying that there are a number of women strikes in Poland. I mean, I saw them on Instagram in November, October. Could you maybe explain a bit about that to those who don't know much about it?
Yes. So to gain popularity, to bring attention to the issue, women and men as well went on the streets to strike. The strikes in general went really, really big, to the point that the whole traffic stopped. There were people on the streets fighting for their rights, saying like, just give me back my power of choice, and this is war. And the strikes didn't only happen on the streets, they also people in the Senate during conferences, they were chanting, this is war, we want the right to choose. They started gathering around Mr. Jarosław Kaczyński, who's also a really big person in the party PIS. So it wasn't only civilians, it wasn't only citizens who were fighting, it was also people of the other parties that wanted to take voice, be vocal about this issue. And I'm really glad it went viral, but not to the point I would like to, because still no action was taken after all. From the government side.
Did you have any friends or family members fighting for it, suffering from this anti-abortion law? Or
I have friends who went on the strikes. However, they stood in front of a really big decision because the strikes were happening in the middle of a pandemic. And there were people, obviously, some people were wearing masks, but the big amounts of people, crowds, it's also really risky. So some people went there, obviously, in the masks with banners. They were being precautionary and safe. And some people were scared to go outside and just stay back home, wore some symbols symbolizing that they are actually fighting as well, that they support the women's rights. And yeah, however, the strikes sometimes were really aggressive. There were people who were coming on the strikes that supported the ban, and they started attacking people striking. The police was really brutal, and yeah, it was really scary and aggressive. So I think so. It was a really big issue, not only to strike, but to make this decision whether I go to the strike and I contribute, or do I prefer to stay safe. And yeah.
How much of the population in Poland do you think are against this anti-abortion law, like people around you?
From just seeing the strikes, I would say many people are affected, and many people want to fight. However, it's the ruling party who made the decision, and the ruling party was selected because the majority of citizens voted for them. So I would assume more people won't support the ban. However, I also saw people, mainly online, who said that they voted for the ruling party. However, they're women and they want the right to choose, and they were against it. So I think it's really it's a big variety of people who, because of this cause, came together and fought for the justice.
So what would you say is the situation right now of these strikes, people fighting?
Personally, because I'm not in Poland right now, and I don't really see my friends going to the strikes anymore, I would say this whole situation died down a bit. The strikes, I'm sure they're happening still in some places. It just, the news don't talk about this, the television, the magazines, it died down. It was really big for a while, and people gained attention. However, no response happened, nothing was triggered because of this. So I would say it's being ignored and people remained oblivious. So yeah.
So our final question is, many of our viewers are willing to make a change. Is there anything people from outside Poland can do to help?
I think definitely, spreading the word, educating people, even stuff like reposting posts online, just to spread awareness and to help the Polish women and men as well, fighting for the women's right to choose. I think just spreading information and educating yourself on this topic is really, really important, because many people, actually Polish people, wrote letters to the government, to the president, to many politicians, um, and it didn't bring big results. So I think just educating yourself, spreading the word is the most important thing you can do right now.
Thank you very much, Weronika. To all our viewers, thank you so much, and please stay tuned for our next episodes.
Yes, thank you so much for listening.